Yeah.
Yo, welcome to Beat People Podcast. This is episode 47. We almost to 50, man. We should do something special. I said that at like 37. Say, hey, we almost to 40. We should do something special.
No, 50 sounds about right. 50 sounds.
Yeah, it's like the
50 sounds
half
like
century
a
mark.
special thing, right? So,
Yeah.
we should plan something out. Expect something really cool for the 50th episode that we don't know what it is just yet, but just expect it. Let's go around who we got today on the podcast. We got Kenneth Flux, P Ears.
Getting full action going on here. I wasn't prepared. What's good, man? What's good? Yeah, it's a beautiful day outside, and if you're watching this show, you're probably losing out because it's some gorgeous weather out there. If you're on the East Coast, stop watching us and go do that. Wait, no.
Way to sell it.
We're moving on down the line. What's up, Shiro? What's going on, bro?
What up? Just chilling in LA now, and good to be here with the squad.
Word up. And then we got someone new on the show.
Hey, what's up? Shonda, aka Travarsi.
Yeah, word. What's going on? Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And y'all got a real nice setup. It looks like we're going to the satellite studio. You know how on the news when they're like, wouldn't go over to, and then they'd be over there on the other side,
Right.
the real pretty side, interviewing some celebrity. That's what the side looked like. It's all beautifully done up. I love it. What up, bro? How you feeling, man?
And me. How's it going?
And Aaron living over there.
Aaron, aka Chicago, but I'm out here in LA right now. We're gonna do some big things.
Right.
Yeah.
Back, Aaron, over to the West Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, you coming enough that you're gonna have to get an apartment after.
No, not anymore. You know, I was here for like 12 years. That's enough.
Oh, that's enough.
Yeah. I'm back.
I did my time.
I did my time in LA. I'm ready. You know, I'm repping Chicago again, and it's good to be back home. But it's great to come out here and visit.
You know what? It's good to have somebody from back home Chicago on the show, man. I noticed ever since we've been hanging out, we got all these references that are particular to Chicago and certain things that we recognize and know that's very particular to Chicago. So that's
it's good to share that. It's fun. It's like an inside joke. It's a Chicago.
Yeah. Because to me, I feel like Chicago is the big little city in a sense that, like, you know, there's less than 6 degrees separation in Chicago, but it's a big city. It because so many people know somebody that knows somebody, it feels like a much smaller community.
Yeah. Right.
Word. But yo, you just got back from Superbooth 19 and Ali the Architect. And man, thanks for going out there. I really hate that I wasn't there. So I was liking all Jamar's posts, but so Ken, how we say hatulating? We have this term that we call hatulating, where it's half hate, half congratulations. So I was kind of hate liking posts.
Oh, I love this thing.
I hate that I ain't there. I love that.
Yeah, Superbooth 19 was amazing, guys. I really wish the whole squad could have been there. The atmosphere was amazing. There was so much new stuff. Great performances. And you know what? Berlin is beautiful.
That whole place is kind of in the middle of, like, it feels like when I saw an aerial shot of it, I was like, damn, that's like New York Central Park with a convention center in the middle of it.
Yeah, so the Fez Center was about a 20-minute train ride from the center of Berlin where Ali and I were staying, but it was amazing. Yeah, it was kind of had like this park vibe mixed with we were kind of making references to what's that show? Lost. Like kind of had this kind of
compound sort of deal.
Yeah, compound kind of vibe. Yeah. But it's a beautiful city, lots of cool lots of history, lots of cool graffiti if you're into that. And but Superbooth 19, wow, what a show not to miss.
No. Hey, so let me before we jump in. Fez is the name of the city.
No, so Fez was the name of this like rec center, this youth center, in which the Superbooth was held
Okay.
at.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like literally a rec center, like with a swimming pool and slides and stuff like that. Yeah.
Really
Oh,
dope. Well, I'm not missing another super booth. I'm gonna make
Now
next
you
year.
gotta make it out
yeah,
there,
we'll
man.
be there next year for
Oh,
sure.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Superbooth is a must. Like I said, the performances were off the chain. They were crazy dope. Like
Thanks for sending us videos.
Yeah, I was sending you guys videos and stuff like that. We're at Club Ohm, where Novation had an amazing set of shows. Like Cuckoo was down there, and then Data Line from Electron.
Yeah.
And let's see. Then we're over at the Maze. That was a really cool show with Teenage Engineering. Tobias did some laid down some really amazing work at that.
What did he use? What Tobias from Teenage Engineering, did he use the new pocket operated modular stuff?
Yeah, so like that's what's so cool about it. So the performance over at the Teenage Engineering was unlike any other one, because we listened to the set, and then at the end of the set they'd reveal what they were using. So we couldn't all the way, we couldn't see exactly what it was, but there was a guy that laid down the most amazing set, and you know what, his name escapes me right now, but I'm pretty sure if I looked it up I'd find it. But at the end of it, he had 3 pocket operators, and we were like, what?
Yeah, wow.
What? It was a full, yeah, it was a full 30-minute set, a full 30-minute like down tempo kind of hip hop kind of house set. Pretty impressive.
That's dope.
Yeah, but they were also using the new Teenage Engineering modular, in which, you know, I got inspired to go grab that OPZ because it has a they're adding a, not only are they adding the sampler, but they have a CV out and gate out.
So yeah. So when I interviewed
Tobias
at NAMM, he showed us, like, we were going through the PO modular, but he showed us the sort of piece, the modular piece that you could put into the back and the bottom of the OPZ.
It's called OP Lab.
Yeah, Op Lab. So there was that existed as an individual piece too before OPZ came around, and you can't get it anymore. It was kind of hard to find, as a matter of fact. But people would use that to interface their OP1 with modular. And so now with the OPZ, they made it where you could put it inside of the OPZ. Yeah, that's like the first piece. There's probably going to be more of those modular pieces that come along that you can swap that out with. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna, the OPZ is really kind of, especially since they're going to be adding with the new firmware that sampler, which actually chops it up very similar to the pocket operated 33. It's really fleshing out to become like the one to get. Because once I found out that it was going to interface with the modular, I was like, all right, it's a no-brainer. Because it's so small. Yeah, it's super small. I just put it in the back of my bag. It's like the size of a calculator. It's over there on the other table. But like, we all know what a pocket. We all it's so small. Like, so to be able to run my visuals, to be able to run CV, and to run like a clock into my modular, man.
Yeah,
that's dope.
And there's micro timing. There's micro timing on the sequencer. So if you know how to do like an octatrack, or if you know how to program a pocket operator, it's like a no-brainer. Like, you can do Modbap with that machine. Like, it's
real quick, couple of quick things.
Yeah.
If you're watching the stream, make sure you join the live chat. So if you have that ability, you know, do that, and we can get in there. We can kind of parlay back and forth with you. Also, you got the pocket operator not long after we hung out in Texas, right? So now you got the pocket operator and the I'm talking about the KO33 sampler. Yeah. So you got that and you got the OPZ. Have you tried like linking the two together at all?
No, you know what? Like I've only had the OPZ for about 24 hours, so I haven't been able to. I just kind of got into the sequencing, which is pretty intuitive. Like I said, if you know how to use an octatrack, you can just jump right into it.
And you can see right from the OPZ, you don't have to plug it into
No, you don't. So yeah, that's another thing. You don't have to use the iPad if you don't want to, and it's actually fairly easy to.
I was gonna ask that too. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we were talking about the other day on the Marco Polo app. We were talking about the idea of like learning it without the screen first. And then using the screen, so that you're not using the screen as a crutch. You have the kind of the background knowledge of just using the hardware, And that way, when you add the screen, it's just additional to your workflow, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think like nowadays we've kind of become like dependent on screens when we really don't have to, especially for like wave editing and stuff like that. Like, a lot of the old MPCs don't even have any kind of waveform on it.
True. So, yeah, the 62 didn't. It was just like numbers. that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. People used to come to the studios to get stuff recreated. Like, yo, do this sample from there to there. Now truncate it to this number and that number. Like,
exactly.
But I'll tell you though, I like having screens because it just gives me another tool. Not the screen being the tool, but my eyes being the tool. It gives me another tool to kind of work with to get precision. But I definitely see what you're saying. I'm interested to check out the OPZ because honestly, when I look at it, I don't get it. Not that I don't get it. I just don't understand how.
I was just about to say, I'm like, dude, you've been laughing at me because I've been rocking the KO33, and you're like, I'm never gonna use something that small. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, don't come in here talking about how you're gonna rock an OPZ.
I think I said I was interested to see how it works. I don't necessarily.
I'm pretty sure you said you had fat fingers.
Yeah, I do have that. But here's the thing, yo. The Op-Z and the Op-1 ain't the same as a pocket operator, bro. Now you know that is not the word.
They're not. But
yeah, now I can't rock with a pocket operator. I think that's common knowledge at this point.
But have you seen some of the posts though? Have you seen some of the posts? It's almost like a mini SP12.
It's so dope, man. Like I'm in love with the pocket operator. What is it? The KO33.
Yeah.
They're beefy.
You were going hard on that when you first got it.
Those small things, they pack a huge punch. Like they're not.
Like I got the arcade one too, and the arcade one's okay. Like the arcade one's fun, but I specifically got it so that I could sample it into the KO33 and just like have a fun little workflow like that.
Right.
But man, that KO33 is genius. Like it's one of the few devices where the limitations add to the charm. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I have the Office one too, because I like those little weird little sounds to put in techno, Sample that in there a little bit, just to add a little texture.
I don't know even the difference of them. I'll tell you though, I think I mentioned it before when the first couple came out, I had them and it was perfect timing because I was going to London for the first time. So I was able to work on them, but I mean, I came away from that pretty quickly knowing that it was too tedious how small they were. So I do acknowledge how good they sound because I hear what people are doing with them. Yeah. And sometimes I'm really surprised, like, holy crap, you're doing that with that thing? You know what I mean? But yeah, just from a strictly tactile situation, it's just not my jam.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the odd things about it that I discovered was like I had to kind of really search for the numbers for what it sampled at and what it played back at the KO, and it actually samples at the same sample rate as a SP1200. 2604.
That's why it has that crunch.
Yeah. But it plays back at higher fidelity. So it plays back, which it also plays back at a strange sample rate. Like I think it plays back at like 46. Like it's not 44. Like it's something odd. I had to find the numbers exactly again. But yeah, it's pretty odd, and it just has its own sound. So like when you start playing with it, when you start pitching it up and then slowing it back down and doing different things with it, you can get some really interesting characters out of it.
What you dust in there?
What you dust in there, Corey? Is this real? Is this happening?
It's hilarious. Right before the show, I was dusting too.
All dusters in armed rebellion.
Modular stuff. Like Aaron and I were both looking at my modulars with a paintbrush going over it. Dusting about it.
That's where it goes.
That's what I should do, man.
Wow.
I should get a paintbrush for it.
This is
all the paintbrushes. Where is that?
Is that 8-bit one? The Bit Crusher?
That's the biscuit, yeah.
Yeah, that's the biscuit.
Oh, that's the one I always wanted, but I never got it, and they stopped making it.
That's how we
I got one of the last ones from I can't even remember the name of the damn place. It's somewhere in LA. Just as they were announcing that they were stopping making it, and he was like, I got 3 left. and so I copped one. But the reason I copped that is for what y'all was saying. Like I could get really, really close, if not dead on, to a lot of classic samples with that joint.
Yeah.
So I've done a lot of stuff with it too.
I used it in my last sound pack.
See what I'm saying? People don't realize, yo, with this joint, it has a delay in it and it has a synth in it. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It has a wave folder, a delay, a synth, and it's just like one of the illest sort of filters and bit reducers. Like it's just crazy.
Bring it with
So
you.
are you
Yeah,
using
I will.
the one more?
Yeah, definitely bring it.
You know, speaking of wave folders, SSF has a really nice wave folder that
They do.
Nice.
They showed it at
amazing.
That's the Ultra Fold, right?
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, the
we
Ultra Fold
did
sounds really good. Yeah, I've used it a couple of times, and it's one of the there's so many different types of wave folding where like you can get hard edge wave folding that sounds more like distortion, but it's that kind of smooth, and it just sounds so good, man. Yeah, that thing is dope.
Yeah, we did a demo with doing his 808 drum synth module through that wave folder, and it was gnarly, man. It was
making it all.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
that crunch.
It was definitely a desirable crunch that it was.
The two wave folders that I'm using like the most right now. Well, I use a bunch of them, but I really like the one from Vintage Synth Lab. They have this one called I think it's called AWM3, and it's really crazy because it's like a triple stage wave folder, but it's all completely broken out. So you can wave fold the top half from the bottom half separately, and then you have 3 stages of that, and then you can send them into each other, and then you can do compression on it. So
compression.
It's less like single knob where you can just grab it, turn the knob and get some interesting result. It's more like you play with it and you get like really crazy results with it and really specific results. But that thing is phenomenal, man. I've been using that a ton, especially on drums and stuff.
Nice.
It gets really crazy. That and the audio damage one, which I don't think it's in production anymore, but the audio damage shapes, which is a digital wave folder. That thing is crazy.
I feel like audio damage makes a lot of really dope stuff, and people don't talk about them.
Yeah, they kind of overlook them.
Yeah.
It's a shame that they don't make their modules anymore, in my opinion, because I really genuinely like that stuff. Like the Boom Shack is.
I really want the Boom Shack. I'm sad to hear that they don't make it anymore.
That thing is huge. The what's the other one? Oh, the compressor, which is what's the name? Rough Rider. It's the plug-in Rough Rider in a module,
and they make that killer reverb too.
Yeah,
was that the which one was that? The Eon, I believe it was.
They did 2. Yeah, they did the Eon 2 and EOS. That's it.
EOS. That's
thanks
it.
to Mr. Valentin. So it's the EOS 2. They did that. That was like their last module, and then they also did. They have the
Dub
Averb,
Junior, I think it was.
They have the Averb 1 and 2. And their Dub Junior delay is really
that
nice
delay.
too.
Yeah, that was cool.
But yeah, they had a lot of really cool modules.
One thing that from jumping into the chat right quick, Inky was mentioning the Torre Squid. She actually mentioned it the last show we did. Yeah, Inky actually Pioneer reached out to me. They're gonna be sending me the Torre Squid, so that should be good.
I'm gonna be reaching out to Pioneer.
AS1. I reviewed the SP16, so I'll be adding this to the collection of reviews. So.
I got a chance to see that, but it was a huge crowd around it, so I couldn't really get down with it. But it looked beautiful.
I watched a bunch of videos of it. It does look dope. Were and they probably had a lot of dope stuff connected to it too, huh?
Yeah, but so a lot of those modules, like there was that, and then I wasn't able to get close to that that other module by In Studio. Is that the name of the?
That delay and the granular module.
Yeah.
Still,
I wasn't able to get close to that one. That was another one where everybody was kind of crowded. Yeah, some modules were just like the talk of the town, so it was pretty hard to get to them.
How was the poly? The
PolyN. So PolyN just
that looks dope.
Battery.
That Poly Go, I think is
yeah.
So what's the deal with that? Is it a sequencer or is it like a patch memory sort of thing? What is that joint?
They dropped 3 separate things, but the one I had my eye on was the Poly Go, which is like basically a battery pack. for your case.
Oh, for the Eurorack case. Yeah, that's really
Yeah,
good.
that was pretty sick. You just bring that, and you don't have to worry about plugging it in. Like, I like
That's really
What
dope.
were the two? There were two other ones that
There
they.
were two other ones, but I
That
can't.
patch recall one, I forget what it's called.
Yeah, the patch
Yeah,
recall.
yeah.
I wasn't able to get a demo of that one either.
Oh, preset.
They were that was a really other popular one, but as far as the I was able to see the Go, and that's amazing because if you kind of visualize yourself like on tour and you're in the tour bus or whatever, and you're coming up with a patch, you can actually just patch in the bus. You could patch on the airplane if you need to.
Right.
I mean, although
It would
that
be
would look
modular on the
pretty
spot
kind of
approach for
crazy
sure.
on an airplane.
Oh,
Poly
bro. If I could be
Yeah.
a fly on the wall of the airplane when you pull out a modular system and a battery and start patching, yo,
sir, you're gonna have to put that one
the
away.
amount of contained panic.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I got a beard and a funny hat and a case like that. It would.
It's weird going through airports with music gear in general. Like I remember when I was first flying with a prototype of the Native Instruments machine, and I had it out on a plane, and apparently like one of the other passengers got worried and was like the other passenger like complained to the stewardess and was like concerned about what I was doing. And because I'm over here like I was on a long flight to LA, so I was like setting up my tray, like I had my laptop set up, I'm plugging in wires, like I felt bad because she was old, and she was also the same lady who, when they told everybody to shut off their phone like before takeoff, she was like flipping out, telling everybody, "You have to have your phone off now." Like it was one of those situations.
I don't play them games with people on planes, man. There was a lady once next to me, and she was just crying and rocking and like looking at me, and I was like, "I ain't messing with you, lady. I'm not serving nobody. I'm not getting nobody no water. You better stop."
That would have made me nervous.
Please, cannot be moved. She's annoying.
Or she's about to do something crazy.
Yeah.
But yo, as far as that squid is concerned, man, like I'm actually gonna like, and I don't do this often, but I'm actually gonna reach out to them because there's so much about it that I'm curious about, and I'm so skeptical at the same time because I'm like, Pioneer is not somebody known for sequencers, so I'm like, man, like a lot of the features that I've seen them do, you can clearly tell that they're watching the modular space. They're watching Electron, like they're watching these advanced sequencers out there that are more modern. And I'm like, yo, I really want to know, did they get this right? Like, what did they screw up? Like, and even if they screwed stuff up, that's not the end of the day, because sequencers are such a complex product to develop. They take so long to get every feature in.
You got to release them in the wild.
If you have a long update schedule where you're like, you know what, we're going to do a 1.1, a 1.2, all the way on up through, and like do multiple feature updates to get this thing right. If they want to really support it, it could be phenomenal. Because just what I saw from the initial videos, I'm like, oh, this is forward thinking. Like this looks actually really interesting.
Speaking of sequencers,
speaking of
wait, I have a question for you. Did you see Circlon there?
No, I didn't see Circlon. Yeah, you're not going to get a Circlon. That's impossible. But going back to
I got a 1.5 year plus waiting list for that.
Wow.
What, a Circlon?
Yeah, Circlon. That's like the impossible waiting list. It's
like the snuffleupagus of
I'll be honest with you, I got a bunch of friends who have Circlons, and they all love them to death. But for me personally, it gets back to like I listen, the Electron Rhythm is an amazing machine, and I'm not knocking the machine itself, but it's not like the sequencer and the way that their workflow is not for me. Like I don't enjoy it. And that like not every sequencer is for everyone. And for me, I'm like the Circlon, I'm not so sure that it would be for me. Like even though it looks amazing, I just don't know that it would be for me.
Right. So just on the sequencer tip, because we've kind of talked a lot about this in the crew. I've had the you guys know I had the Eloquencer for a while, and I had the Hermod for a couple days.
I feel like
but you know what?
Hermod in the morning and sold it that night.
I had it, and I sold it that night.
Got to be out of here by sundown.
I'm on this journey, but I stuck with.
I'm on it with you.
I stuck with the Eloquencer for about a year, waiting for updates. That there was a new update that came, and it was mainly a lot of MIDI stuff, but it had there was only quantized notes, so everything had to be on the grid. There was no micro timing, which is a must for me. I must have micro.
Yeah. Let's keep it real though. That's something that's like kind of new to Modular, is getting off of the grid as far as sequencing is concerned. You know what I mean?
We had a lot of
the reason is because, and we've all talked about this, but I want to say it on the show. The reason is really about because Modular has been more about the XOX style sequencing steps.
And not just that, if you look at analog sequencers where it all started, analog sequencers, there's no more grid than an analog sequencer because it's, you know, clock tick, like boom, 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 you know?
Exactly.
But that being said, that's where logic comes in and like being able to like, you know, freak your clocks out. You know what I mean? Like that, you can get into some really advanced clocking techniques with Modular. So that's not to say you can't do weird swings. And like I've got like a really, really basic analog sequencer in my rack that I use it all the time because it's really fun to send it fucked up clocks. You know what I mean? Like I'll send it 2 clocks at the same time, and then I'll be like crossfading between them, and like I'll send it an LFO in there too, and just to mess it all up. You know what I mean? And you'll get these weird random stutters and that sort of thing. But for an actual powerful sequencer, like a digital style sequencer inside a Eurorack, I feel like the whole micro timing and live input recording and that kind of stuff is just in its infancy. Like, and I think it's going to get way better really quickly.
Yeah,
you know?
But you know what? That's just it. Like with you're speaking about a lot of extra things like adding logic and all these other things when I don't want to overthink it. I just want to have fun and I just want to program it. And that's one of the main reasons why I picked up that OPZ was it's simple, it's small, and it works. And all those other big sequencers that I spent time and money on, none of them worked. None of them did.
And all those big sequencers, let's be honest, like like even the Eloquencer, like they're not cheap. Like
they're not cheap.
No, not at all.
If you're used to 19-inch rack prices and desktop, especially desktop prices, your rack sequencers are not cheap.
Right.
No, they're not. But you know what though? I want to mention though the idea of them not working. I think they work. They just don't work for the way we like.
We need exactly.
Yeah. Of course they all work. Of course they all.
No. I mean, I'm not even alluding to that they're broken, but I think they work very well for a lot of things. But if you're the type of person that's off the grid and loose, and maybe comes from a programming background that's more NPC centric, like whether it's the machine or, you know, whatever it might be, then that's where it starts to get a little wonky and weird. You know what I'm saying? And then so you get stuck with a situation where like I have a sequencer in my rack, but I use it only for melodic elements because my drums need to be loose and I ain't got time for anything else.
I use
you know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, but I use the Erica drum sequencer, and that actually has micro timing, and you can.
Oh, nice.
It has probability. It has like trig conditions, sort of similar, I guess, to like the Electron sort of programming. I mean, I like it, but my only, I guess I wouldn't say gripe. It has like 1 CV, and that sort of the program it. So I don't use it for that. I just use it strictly to sequence drums, and it's great. Like there's
always these little
patterns, and it has banks.
They always have to like one missing ingredient.
I'm sorry, Cyril. What?
No, it seems like they always have like 1 or 2 missing ingredients. Like they almost get
it. That's exactly what I was gonna say.
That's it.
Well, because here's the thing: if you only have 1 CV, for what we're talking about when we're trying to address chops and a sample, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen.
Exactly. And you know, for me, it's like there's a couple of things that I'm lax on that I'm not lax on for larger companies with Modular, and that is a lot of these sequencers are built by like 1 or 2 person companies, like really small outfits. So you've got like one coder who's also like developing the board, and he's doing this and he's doing that, and he also has a day job or whatever else. So like I'm kind of like way more lax on them. But when I get contracted by a company to like consult on like a drum machine or something or some other sequencer, I'm like an asshole to him because I'm like, yo, if this dude in a little room, if Tony Stark could build this thing in a cave, you should be able to build the sequencer of my dreams. You know what I mean? Like,
Hey, Ken, you know what though? We both know though that the funny thing about that is when you think about some big companies too, even though they're big companies, they don't put a lot of resources into the kind of stuff that we would want them to. So even though a small company has one guy, he's doing all that, the bigger company, we can name at least 2 or 3 right now where you know there's one dude in that company that's responsible for, it's like almost the same, but they have the resources to do more than that. And it kind of, it's like a bag of tricks, man.
Yeah.
But what about
we've you know, Corey and I have sat together on consultation, you know, talks where some of the developers at these larger companies have brilliant ideas and they have, you know, fantastic things that they would love to do. But then the reality sets in where even Corey knows what I'm talking about. We had a conversation with a company not that long ago, and I had to step back and say, listen, you're doing too much. You're never going to be able to get done what you actually want to get done.
Like,
you need to rein it in because they'll never pay you the amount of money that you should be paid to do all of that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what, and that in the end product, that's what happened too. So
it is.
I just like to say I told you
made a few different things.
Corey, how's the black box? Can you get off the grid with the black box?
I don't know. I've only been doing loops and clips on it so far. So I've had it less than a week. And what I love about it is that I was able to do a couple things. I haven't really, actually it feels kind of loose, but mostly what I've done is I did make one joint where I programmed some drums, but it was just kind of like, you know how it is, you first get something, you make a first thing, and it's kind of like, that's not meant for anybody to ever hear ever. It's me trying to figure this thing out, right? Yes, but what I've mostly done with it is recorded clips, or other thing that I did is I've imported stuff off of a particular project on the Force as loops, clips, and then I imported those into clips on the black box and playing them back, and it works fantastically. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I don't know about the timing and that stuff just yet.
Yeah, because I'm really curious because well, Shonda has at her studio, she has a Bitbox, so I'm gonna mess with that a little bit. Okay. But I was looking at the toolbox because I was kind of thinking about like, what if I can export my MIDI files from, say, like the Force, put it on the toolbox? Would I be able to run that as my main sequencer and not have to bring the Force to a show?
Word. That makes sense. No, I know exactly what you're saying, and that part of the thing that I'm doing with the black box, I would love to be able to have the Bitbox in my show, in my live rack.
Yeah.
So that I could that's one less thing I could have to take out, and I'll still be able to have that functionality where I can fire off, you know, a whole separate sort of composition that I can kind of freak out in between things. Would be dope.
Yeah. Some testing definitely needs to go down with those, because I think those actually might be the key to a fluid live performance.
Bring that too tomorrow.
Yeah. Bring that. Bring that.
That's a list for you that we want you to bring over.
I'm gonna need to rent a U-Haul
sessions tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So everybody, we're doing these ModBap live sessions that we're gonna start doing. Think Boiler Room meets ModBap, right? And I'm gonna lock in on we'll be in this space where they are. And you know, we're just gonna kind of build and kind of make live ModBap stuff, live grooves, live music.
Yeah.
Maybe kind of learn from each other. It'll be like a really collaborative sort of session, and we'll do these. What did we decide, you guys? Monthly?
I think once a month.
No, yeah. I mean, I think we're gonna do it monthly, but it's gonna be really interesting. I want to see how this one goes, because like it's gonna be a little bit of learning, a lot of conversations, a lot of building, like patching live. Experimentation, and just kind of opening up discussion about the beat making process, really.
Right.
Yeah. So it's going to be like a combination of all those things happening at once. You know, might be a little bit of DJing, sampling. It's just all of those ideas happening at once, if that makes sense.
Stop by too.
Yeah, there'll be
Yeah.
some special guests stopping by
Right.
tomorrow. Some faces that you might know, some YouTube personalities, and some some special guests. So
Dope.
Who's
This is
paying for
gonna
my
be fun.
flight though?
who's paying for Yeah, this one, the first one's gonna be happening tomorrow in Cali. So we're really excited about bring you guys the Mop App Sessions episode 1, season 1.
Word. That's dope. That's dope.
So
Yeah, I'm looking
I'll
forward
send
to
over
that,
that
man.
list to you, Corey. Then after the,
Huh?
I'll send over that list of what.
All the stuff to bring.
Yeah.
No doubt. Luckily, so far, you've only named smaller stuff, so I think I might be all right.
Okay.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah.
So let me see what a Superbooth. I want to get back to Superbooth though. What did you see that kind of resonated with you, and like what was the vibe like at Superbooth?
All right. So here I'm gonna make. All right, she's laughing.
I am laughing.
I'm gonna make a big reveal. I'm gonna tell
Here it
you what.
goes.
It was the Verbose. The Verbose system,
Mm-hmm.
modular system, resonated with me so much so that I wasn't even back in the States, and I had it come into my house. It's
Oh
beautiful.
yeah.
It's
Oh,
beautiful.
you didn't tell me that.
Wow.
I know I
You
didn't tell you.
tell
That's
me
why I
that.
just called it a reveal, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, come on, man. Like, yo. Oh,
No,
I'm
but-
just
but where
fucking
Ken is
everybody
coming
else
from
now, I
is-
see.
Ken is
We
coming
talk
from
every day.
Yo,
You
I
didn't,
don't, Ken's like, I
man.
don't get the retail reveal. I need to.
You can
Sounds
only reveal,
dirty.
once. So yes, and that takes me to another conversation about systems versus just buying modules. You know, there was something about the thought process and the flow of the way that the Verbose system works, the composition system works, that just resonated with me. And the other similar this other similar connection that I had was with the shared system, and that was some years ago. But the Verbose system is impressive. As far as like all those swings and kind of obscure timing, you can definitely accomplish that. And once I was able to do that, once I was able to
Like
make
so-
a Mop App track on a Verbose system, I felt a connection like I didn't feel with any of my other modules. It was
So
Nice.
what exactly did you pick up? Like, what exactly do you have coming to your house?
I have it, and
Oh,
it's
okay.
it's a composition system. So it
Okay.
has was it like 9 modules in there?
You got the harmonic oscillator in there too?
Yes,
Because that's been on my list for a while.
Nice.
yes,
I've
and
messed
that
with
one, it's beautiful.
That's one of the most dope. It's not cheap, but there's so much involved in that oscillator, like the actual production of it, that it's not like I don't feel like I'm being ripped off. Like I feel like it's expensive because it is what it is. Like
It is what it
I
is.
feel like that about all the modules.
Well, like I feel that way about all their modules. Once you get your hands on their modules and you actually get to
Yeah.
experience it, like everything kind of disappears. Like seriously, the price becomes transparent. Like, you know, the fact that they're bigger than most modules, that kind of goes out of the window. And then you find yourself wanting to commit. You find yourself wanting to commit to the entire system because it works so well together. And I mean, this isn't you know, an off the cuff decision process for everybody, but I had it in my mind. I saw everybody kind of going for a lot of the popular modules that were coming out, and I was like, oh, that's cool. But when you stumble upon this system, wow. It's
the Verbose stuff, and not for nothing, but it's laid out spacious enough that your fingers don't feel cramped on it, and it's pretty.
It's beautiful. Yeah, what was
like,
all?
yeah.
Yeah, so
what's the-
Shonda has one. I'm going to be teaching her how to use the complex oscillator, but that's another one. But the complex oscillator is really, really nice on there. The sample and hold random machine it's just a great system, and I recommend getting your hands on it. I know that if you're in California, you have more access, but being in Chicago, I didn't have access to the Verbose system. So, but I know if you're in California, I think like Analog Haven and Noisebug carry them.
Yes.
Yeah, Analog Haven is.
I got mine from I got the complex oscillator from
Oh, okay.
Noisebug.
Analog Haven actually had something like an exclusive or some kind of very special relationship with them for a long time too. So Yeah, but I don't think I've ever put hands on it. But I did interview Mark Verbose, and I just love his attitude. He's one of the really good guys in the community.
He's got a swagger to him. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah,
There's
definitely a cool factor.
Yeah.
I got a chance to meet him at their party the last night in Berlin, and which was amazing party, and everybody was jamming out in the Verbose system. And in the back of my head, I'm like, I'm having that come to my house. I know I am. Like, it's just, it sounds so robust. It's just.
Word.
I used one a couple years ago at my buddy Mitch's house with rest in peace, Mike McGrath was there that day, and we were kind of just all messing around with it. And I gotta say, like, the way that it's laid out, and the system that we used was the complete system with like the black wood.
Oh yeah,
all like, man, it's just all so well laid out and so nice. And it's Buchla, like, but on like a more modern kind of like aesthetic and vibe with Eurorack. So it's really like, I'm telling you, that harmonic oscillator like kind of twisted my head up, because I was just like, oh, I can do this, and you start modulating it, and it's almost like you get kind of wavetabley sounds out of an analog oscillator, and it's just gorgeous. Like the tone is just
Watery.
Yeah,
I wish I could have like 6 of them and do a polyphonic version. Like, I would be like.
Well, do you have the touch plate keyboard with it as well?
No. So this is a composition system. So it has the has every if you bring up that list again, so it has the sample and hold, it has the complex oscillator, the harmonic oscillator, it has the
let's see,
the envelope, and it has the
so it has the amplitude and controller.
Yeah, I have that one. It has a complex oscillator. It has a dual pole. Oh man, the dual 4-port filter.
oh
man, I'm telling you, get your hands on this system. It'll change. Like, you'll look at the price will become transparent. And again, like I was saying, like we look at all these little we look at these modules and we look at our cases and we're kind of building it to our personality. But when you get a system that works, and that's built to work with each other, with the modules are built to work with each other.
Yeah, they were designed.
And even the layout, even the layout that they give it to you in is in a very specific layout, so it's in a thought process.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's
a complete instrument is the difference.
Exactly. It's an instrument.
And that's the same with like the shared system. The shared system, I feel like, is even a little bit more, it's slightly more open, slightly more like just the way that it is. But the Verbose one is very much like this very specific instrument kind of, man. It is genuinely speaking, like, it's one of those things where when people are like, hey, what's a boutique sound, like something that's gonna, what can I get in Eurorack that I can't get in a desktop box or a main manufactured synth or whatever, that's gonna sound amazing and it's gonna be worth all the money? That's one of them. Like that
is one of them.
And be like, hey, if you buy this, you're not getting this from a Roland, a Yamaha. You're not getting this from any of those types of companies.
Exactly.
This is that shit, you know?
And you know what? It brings us to that conversation we were having probably a week ago about how the value of our modular investments and how they will value or devalue in the future. And I feel like the Verbose stuff is going to retain. Definitely going to hold its value. But that also brings another question to the whole panel: is like, how do you think some of the digital modules will value or retain value in the future? Do you think that it will?
It depends on if people do version 2 of a digital module, because I've noticed that anytime somebody does a version 2 of any digital module, like Phonogene to Morphogene, look at the price of Phonogenes now, which is funny to me because that's actually the exception to the rule. The Phonogene, mark my words, will skyrocket in price later. And the reason is because samplers are different from just about everything else. Samplers have a very specific tone to how they are in that moment. So the Phonogene, I had one when they were like $500 and some odd, and then I sold it right before the Morphogene came out, and then I bought another one when it was $225. You know what I mean? Because you know what? I love the lo-fi sound of the Phonogene.
He's a Wall Street tycoon of modular.
Dude, I knew it was going to drop in value, so I sold it. I waited a month and then I bought it again at less than half of what I sold mine for. And you know what? I'm so happy because I don't have a Morphogene. Eventually, I'll probably get a Morphogene too, but I love the Phonogene's 12-bit sound. It's very crunchy. I specifically bought it for that dirtiness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of users were buying it because they wanted it to be a tape machine. You know what I mean? Which is what it was billed as originally, you know? But really what it is it's an amazing lo-fi sampler, you know? So there's different modules out there. Like, oh, no. I already have one, so I can talk it up and put the value back up. Like reverbs, if you come out with a version 2 of a reverb, more than likely the original version 1 of that reverb is going to drop off the face of the earth because most people don't care about a lo-fi reverb. You know what I mean?
Right.
A hi-fi reverb people love. You know, the reverb people, you know, they'll pay gobs of money for it. But if there's one that's just a hair better than this other one, they're going for the other one, you know? So effects modules, I feel like more often than not, if there's a version 2, the version 1 loses all its value. Oscillators are kind of odd. It has to do something really interesting. Braids lost its value more than anything because of the secondary market of the DIY guys making clones and that sort of thing. And then there was micro versions that take up less room. So there's that sort of thing. But I look at things like the orgone accumulator, right? Which isn't the most hi-fi of wavetable oscillators, but it does really interesting stuff. And it holds its value pretty well. It's been out for a good long while. The Harvest Man stuff, you got Time Safari and that sort of thing. Those things, they've lost a little bit of value, but they're kind of holding up, you know? So,
but you know, I think too, it's worth mentioning too, when you start talking about the valuation of modules like that, the value of the modules like that, we're still very much in the same era, right? So I think I'll be interested to see how things fare 15 years from now, even 10 years out, you know what I mean? Like there may be, you know, I think one of the points you're making about digital modules is so many little screens on them and how well those will last. I think, you know what I mean, that won't be too different from some of the synths. Look at every sampler that Akai ever made. You need to get, if you're buying a vintage sampler today that Akai made, you're most likely going to need to buy a new screen or a backlight for the screen or something like that.
Well, honestly, and if you're buying a vintage sampler today, like I'm going to be very realistic about this. Right now is the worst time to buy a vintage sampler ever.
You're right.
Period.
Yeah,
the market is extremely high right now. If you're buying an SP1200, if you're buying an MPC 60, if you're buying any of that stuff right now, you are buying high. Like this is not the time to buy. This is the time to sell.
You're buying at a higher price, not that you're high on something when you buy.
I'm saying that I don't think the prices. I feel like the prices have hit their maximum, and that they're going to start dropping again in the next few years. You've got products that are coming out that are more than just emulations, but actual recreations of that same type of like. The reason why these vintage samplers are so lusted after isn't just because of the records that they were used on, but it's because of the certain sound qualities that they could exhibit to get those sounds that were on those records. The fact of the matter is now people are hip to the fact that, oh my God, people actually want that bit crushed and that sample rate reduced sound. And they want that analog filter behind it. They want this, they want that. There's specific qualities to it that they want. I'm working on the SP2400 project, and I got to say, I just heard some audio demos like back and forth between the two, and literally I couldn't tell the difference. Like there's one factor that I'm aware of that I was able to discern between the two, and even then I could still only pick it like maybe 50% of the time. The sound is already there. Like people are already able to reproduce these types of sounds. So if you're buying now really high, you're already too late. Put it that way. You got Daydream Sound out there putting out amazing videos about Ensoniq sequencers and Ensoniq samplers. And, you know, people see that and they skyrocket the price because he's amazing. You got people buying SP1200s because they see that they're already $5,000.
Yeah.
That time to buy has passed.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I missed it.
Yeah. You know what? And back to the digital modules versus I wasn't saying that digital modules was whack. But what I was saying was, if we're thinking about how they're being like updated, like we're kind of, a lot of these things are projects are unfinished, and we're kind of at the mercy of these module creators to be like, hey, when's the next update? When's the next update? And if these guys, you know, back to my doomsday theory, if these guys, you know, if their team isn't big enough, we're not going to get an update. You know what I mean? What if it's just one guy?
Right.
What if it's just one?
We're also in an age where it's like things are moving so fast that people are just pushing things out to try to stay in the game.
You're absolutely right.
That's why they have to have like 50 updates before a year passes by when it came out. Like okay, 50 is an extreme, but you know what I mean.
But no, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like update next week.
Y'all probably remember. I went on a rant. It kind of bugs me. You know, and I know a lot of these companies are like small companies and just a couple guys, you know, with an identity for a company, and they're doing great work. But the one thing that really bugs me is when companies release stuff that they know is just not finished.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of that pressure that you just mentioned to stay in the game and stay relevant and keep, because these shows are coming. It's not just annually anymore. You got NAMM, right after that you got Superbooth, then you got, you know, whatever else might be happening.
Yeah, you got NobCon, you got Simplex.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then, not to mention, those are just the big ones. These companies are always traveling to all these places, and they got to keep stuff hitting the market so they can stay relevant, because you got to have a reveal of some sort. You know what I mean? And the tough thing about it is that we get a lot of nearly baked stuff, but not quite.
Right. But it's like also like this weird catch-22, because then you have people like complaining, like, you know, like it's not out yet. I mean, the classic, the big one I can mention, you know, like look how long. I mean, I'm an avid Electron user. Like, look how long people were pissed about the overbridge.
Yeah.
You know, they talked about it. Yeah. I mean, you know, but like before it even came out, like people were really upset about that.
I'll say this to that specific point. I will say this. You can't ship a product with a sticker on the box that says overbridge included and it's not included. That's right. There's a big difference between, for instance, I bought the ER301 and I love it to death, but I bought it and it specifically says on the website when you buy it, this is a beta. I bought the Tempest, and that thing I would punch Dave Smith in the mouth for saying, "Oh my God, this thing's ready to go," and it nowhere near was ready to go.
I'm sorry. Let me say this. And I hope I don't piss off anybody in the internet right now. But, I mean, if you're buying an Electron box for like $1,200, $1,300 only because it has a little overbridge sticker,
no, it's not only because.
I'm sorry.
It's not only like because, but there is a bait and switch. There is a bait and switch tactic of saying that you have a feature that's included that is not included. That's all I'm saying. And all I'm saying is you could put a sticker on the box that says overbridge is coming. That would be one thing.
You could say overbridge ready, compatible.
Right.
Yeah, but you know what?
And I love the guys who are Electron.
They announced at the beginning when they put that product out that it wasn't ready, that it was going to come out eventually. Yeah. They repeatedly, so they get a pass on that one.
But on the box, people in the car center buying these things
says it on the box.
aren't listening to our shows. They're seeing the sticker on the box. Like it was literally on the box.
Corey left.
I'll leave it too, man. Like, I mean, it was pretty obvious, even on their website.
Yeah.
No, listen. All I'm saying is that transparency is key. So, like, if you have, like, I am 100% aware of the difficulties of development, and that's why I say, like, transparency is key. So I agree with you, and I love the people at Electron. I've talked to them many times. We've done interviews with them. They're great people, and they do a lot of wonderful things.
Overbridge today in my hybrid setup.
Oh, he's looking for the sticker. Sticker.
You want me to find my box? Hold on.
Where's the sticker?
Box Wars.
I gotta go find my box. Damn it! Hold on.
I don't see nothing on this box.
What did I start?
I had a sticker on mine. I will find it. I'll post it on my Instagram. And it says overbridge on it.
I don't remember there being an overbridge sticker on that.
Well, I got mine later too.
He has a Rhythm MK1 right in front of him, and that's what you have, Ken.
Well, I sold my Rhythm MK1.
Wait, hold on. What's it say?
Overbridge enabled.
Overbridge enabled. Okay. But and then you read right below that, and what's it say right below it?
No, but enabled
Overbridge.
is different.
I think
Overbridge.
They make it sound like Overbridge was there when you bought it, and it wasn't for over a year.
Yeah, it was like over a year. It wasn't there.
And listen, Overbridge is fantastic, and I understand why it took so long. All I'm simply saying is like, you can't tell your customers that you have something that doesn't exist.
But it doesn't say it on the box, dude.
It
You
does.
opened it wrong.
It does. It says it
You
right
opened
there.
it wrong.
Overbridge enabled. Except guess what? When you bought it and you plugged it in, Overbridge didn't fucking work.
This is true. I get where you're coming from, but yeah. But that's exactly the reason why people were pissed off, though, because they up until that point, whatever Electron said you were getting, you got, and typically, they announce it's released.
They're a fantastic company. I am not shitting on Electron at all. They are not the only people to do this kind of shit. When Dave Smith put Prophet VS waveforms in the Tempest, and guess what? They were not the VS waveforms because they fucked up when they put them in there. And they have a glitch in every Prophet VS waveform where they missed a sample, and they like the simple FM bell sounds that should be smooth all sound buzzy. No, like that's not okay. Fix that shit. His website said for a year after I owned it that sampling could come, that you would be able to import your own samples later on. That was a possibility in an interview that was on his website when he had already come out and said that it was never a possibility. Get it off your website. Don't lie to your customers. That's all I'm saying.
right.
You know, because I think we're kind of, it's almost about that time. I want to roll into some positive stuff. I was on the airplane. I was watching.
I love Electron, by the way.
Yeah, I love Electron.
I just put that out there. I
do too. Listen.
Piece of Electron.
Yeah, it was funny because I was talking to Corey. Was I talking to Corey?
I still have mine, don't I?
Corey, I was telling you.
I beat you because I love you.
That I was trying to find the right octatrack for my performance, and I got all four of mine mixed up. So it's like I had to take time at 3 a.m. trying to find my live octatrack, the one that I use for live performances. So I'm scrambling around and
he texted me that, and I'm like, well, I didn't feel so bad for owning 2 octatracks then. When he said he had 4.
See that's what I'm saying. That's a sentence I never heard. He was like, I grabbed the wrong octatrack. I'm like, what? Yo, stop saying stuff like that.
Dude, he's so bougie.
So bougie. Yeah,
the bougie beat maker strikes again.
Exactly. He's got octatracks like vinyl. You know what I'm saying? You know how you
octatrack. Oh, yeah, I got a couple of those. Yeah, a couple of those. But it was a cool moment I had on the airplane today when I was coming over, and I was watching. They had Ferris Bueller's Day Off on there, so I had to watch it, right? And so he's complaining about how his parents didn't buy him a car, but yet and still they bought him an emulator 2 and a computer. And that was like 1987. And I'm wondering what was the retail of the emulator 2?
As much as a car. Straight up.
Yeah, so he has some sort of dial-up computer with internet and an emulator 2. But yet his parents still buy him a car.
Listen, hold on. But he specifically says in the movie, she got the car, I got this. But the problem with that is that he had everything else. I'd be fine with that if he was like majoring in music. He clearly had no musical ability, right?
Well, yeah,
because there was one part where he lip synced really well.
Well, no, but he uses it for fart sounds, which is like even more.
Which is why I bought this.
It's why we all buy Modular.
Right.
So I'm closing with that. That's my.
So yeah. Hey, yo, this has been fun. And Ken, I advise you to drink more whiskey today because I think it's just the right thing to do.
Dude, that's the funny thing is people are saying in the chat. I gotta tell you, like, I'm not even slightly buzzed, but your liars get me pissed. Like I love the Tempest. I haven't sold it. I love the Rhythm. I haven't sold it, but I hate specific aspects of it, and people try to sugarcoat it, and it makes me want to slap the crap out of them. And I'm East Coast, so I will.
Murder Town.
Well, I appreciate y'all, man. Yo, I got to get out of here. We're gonna end the show. Yeah, if anybody got anything in closing,
I do. So we got that. So we have a Noise Bug performance coming up, and that's going to be on Saturday.
Oh, yes.
So if you're out here in the LA area, come out to Pomona to Noise Bug on. Is that Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday the 25th.
Saturday, a week from today. Yeah, I'm going to be having. I got a few records left. So I'll be having those on sale. And then there's even a very, very special performance. My man Corey's going to be there. And Shiro, they're going to be doing that on Sunday. Did you want to talk about that one, Corey? The Sunday performance?
Please do.
Sure. Yeah, me and Shiro.
That is big.
We're going to be opening for J Electronica at the Troubadour.
Woo!
Doing a mod back joint. So yeah, this will be fun. It's going to be us doing a live mod bap set. Yeah, so I'll be performing with Aaron on Saturday and then with Shiro on Sunday. So if you're LA, make sure to come check it out. I'm sure we're gonna have video of all of it, so we'll definitely be sharing, and we're building something strong, people. Thanks for the support.
And don't forget the mod bap sessions tomorrow. Well, we probably go on in the evening. So yeah.
All right.
Announcement on all of our Instagrams.
Oh yeah.
Tomorrow we'll do an announcement.
Hold on. What exactly is your Instagram?
My Instagram is Travarsi Official.
Okay.
Word.
And Aaron, what's your Instagram? No, liar. Aaron is the anti-social media cat.
Aaron, when it comes to social media, he's the I'm with him guy.
I'm with that guy over there.
That guy over there has internet.
We've been talking about it though, so I've been like giving him a nudge.
Oh, we all have. We all have. Trust me on that.
Yeah, and a big announcement. I got a computer, guys. It's an old one. It's an old one, but I promise I won't use it for music.
You got a phone, man. You have zero excuse.
No, I'm not, man. I don't use.
You act like we're all stupid here. It's not happening.
So yeah, let's just. Yeah, it was a great show. Good show.
Yeah. One quick thing. So I've been working on everything not sound pack related lately. I've been doing a lot of production stuff for hardware that'll be coming out in the next year or two. But I will say this, I'm going to drop a new sound pack for the ER301 users very, very soon. It's a free pack. How much does it cost? What's that?
How much does it cost?
Oh, it's free, but you might have to be charged an email. Oh my God. Sorry if me having you log in an email to get this free pack offends you, but yeah. So no, I already dropped a free lo-fi sampler. If you have an ER301, you can go to shop.fluxwithit.com. You can get the free lo-fi sampler for it, which is pretty dope. But I have a sample pack that I'm going to drop on there as well. That should be really cool for cats that want to use the ER301 but don't want to pay royalties on samples and that sort of thing. This will be free for you guys. So I'll do that very soon.
Word. All right, so we're gonna be out of here. This wraps up episode 47. And remember, we gotta do something special for episode 50.
Yeah, we gotta do something real special. We gotta have a whole squad on here.
Corey, you'll be 50 on that episode, right?
I'm out on that note.
All right, Corey. I'll see you tomorrow, man.
Yeah.
Hey, it was great having you on,
guys. Awesome. Peace.